Hi there. Today we're going to be diving deeper into our tropical section, as well as looking at some potentially new areas that are going to be materializing in the zoo, but we're not going to be doing it alone. So let's sit back, enjoy, but most importantly, I hope you enjoy Stafford Zoo. Hi everybody, my name is Blob and welcome back to Stafford Zoo. It's a pleasure to have you with us. And Matt, thank you so much for the reception on the last episode. All of your incredible feedback is most welcome and very kind of you all. And we might even see some of those suggestions that you put down in the comments appear in this episode here. But I said us earlier on, and that's because I'm joined by the one and only Gunther's Gaming.
Oh, thank you so much, Blob. I'm so excited to be here. I've been watching all of your builds from Pause, Snowtopen, this one, of course. And every time you put something together, I walk away learning something new. And the honor to tour this with you, it just means I know I'm going to learn quite a bit. So I'm really excited for this. Thank you again.
Thank you. I appreciate your enthusiasm, given that this is the third time we've now attempted to record this. I appreciate it. It's most welcome.
You know what? It just means I have 3 times the opportunity to learn new things from you. And that's a good thing in my books.
So, I've invited you here today because we're going to be looking at the changes from the last episode, and not much has started in terms of changes, but this sign is one of them. The name has definitely changed because the original name was surplus to requirement because it was called the jungle floor. When I looked at the animals I had, I got the spectacled caiman, which resides mainly in water, and chimpanzees, which reside mainly in the jungle canopy. I realised that 50% of the animals didn't actually reside on the jungle floor, so that name was scrapped and promptly replaced with this one, the jungle jamboree, which was kindly offered to me.
I really like the Jungle Jamboree. I also really like this font. I think it just looks really good.
Yeah, thank you. The font comes courtesy of Ricey, it has to be said, but I appreciate a little bit of alliteration. It really goes quite a long way. But the tape here is subject to change because I don't even know if I'm going to have tape here, so I may just delete this and put a different animal there instead.
I guess that's the joys of playing Planet Zoos. You can swap things out last minute.
It's true, but a lot of the pieces, like the sign pieces like these ones, are actually quite large. I think the only reason I've got the tape here is because it's one of the smaller ones because it's a baby animal. But
That just
maybe
means
I'll
we need a
force them in.
scaling mechanic. That's all.
Oh, that's true, yeah. God, please don't bring that up. I'm already sad about not getting into Planet Coaster 2. It's fine. And then the second change is already instantly noticeable, and that's that the Indian elephants and Indian rhinoceros have been joined by a friend. And that is this guy here, the sambar deer, which is also native to India. So the 3 Indian species all in one habitat, and I really think it adds something a bit different. Like you've got these 2 gentle giants in the shape of elephant and rhinoceros, and then you've got this, I don't know, I think any species of deer with really impressive antlers is just, they're so majestic.
Oh, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of like Princess Mononoke.
I have no idea what that is. I don't know what that is.
It's an amazing anime. I'm sure maybe some people in the comments will back me up on this one. But the antlers, just like, it really pops. I love this look, and also this perfect image of it right behind or right in front of the waterfall.
Yeah, these I've seen a lot of people say that they cover these up or they find these quite ghastly. But I'm 99% sure that I've been to 2 zoos where they had things like this and they just don't bother covering up. They'll literally just have a frame and the water sort of just leaking out of it. So I've always just used it as it is whenever I do use it.
I feel like from like a realism perspective, like having it open air like that is just easier to maintain it though too, right?
Yeah, that's true, yeah. I think I've used them once before and I've got 2 in this one habitat, so I've used these more in one habitat than I have across the whole of my Planet Zoo career combined, if that's the word that you really want to use when
So
talking
what you're
about
saying
building a
is
Planet Zoo.
66% of your waterfalls are used in this one habitat.
Yeah, 66% of my waterfalls are in one sight line right here. There you go, yeah. There's a statistic for you. We head on round to the, I call it a plaza, but it's not really a plaza because it's just like an open area really. But I put this like planter in the middle where you can obviously see this ghastly pink and white truck here, and then maybe a little bit just beyond that here and here as well. But yeah, these statues suffer from the same problem as the tapirs, and that is that I don't even know if I'm going to be having hippos and gorillas in this area, so these statues could well be changing as well at some point.
I really like this planner and what you've done. So I like to think that this is a plaza because it is a congregation. It's a point of congregation. Everybody's going to meet up here. Lots of things to do, and this that little planter adds so much detail to this plaza. I love it. I actually really do.
Thank you so much. Well, again, I think things like lion signs carry this so much. Like I think I owe Lion so much because they help just fill. I think without the signs, you wouldn't really be able to tell this is a zoo, I don't think. But it's weird how you can just have like a post with some lines on it and you just instantly know that you're actually in a zoo and not just like some public gardens or something.
I don't think I can name a single zoo that doesn't have a Lions Pack sign in it.
Yeah, I know. They're like, you see them everywhere. It's like, where's Wally? Or where's Waldo? You just like turn the page and then there's like, you just got to find the lion signs. And then we have our next new entry. I decided to throw in a playground here. Felt like it was a fitting place. You've got chimpanzees over here that are climbing all over their climbing frame, so why not give your own little monkey a climbing frame to use and climb on while you're trying to enjoy your gulpy slush.
I've never built a child's like play place ever, and it's something I'm afraid to tackle, but this looks amazing. I love just like all the details. Even like the rope bridge looks so like perfect.
Oh, thank you. This is currently on the workshop if you would like to use it, as I very buggily use the ladder. But this is so old as well. This playground, because originally when I made it, I'm not sure. Oh, what on earth was I doing here? Well, we're gonna ignore that. We're just gonna. Why is that not center? Oh well. And then we got ourselves a seesaw. I was going to put a slide in, but then I thought, how am I going to make a slide? And I thought I'd just avoid it altogether. And I just made a really awfully lined up fireman's pole instead.
No, you know, it works. I also like this like little climbing wall with like the little different pieces that you can kind of climb up.
I've seen this in a few builds, not just in Planet Zoo, but Planet Coaster as well. But the one that is in Planet Zoo that I really love and really relate to is Tove's. Tove's made one for the Markor and it looked amazing, but his was like the full scale like adult ones, if you know what I mean. It had like the ropes, safety equipment and stuff. Oh, chef's kiss. So good. Like I absolutely adore that one.
So I just gotta say, because I know what you're gonna say, I love the use of terrain and elevation here, which is rich coming from me, because if you know my zoos, they're all pretty much built on flat surfaces, and Blob is actually the one that challenges me to build with terrain and elevation.
Well, I challenge everyone to do it, because I think it helps open your sight lines up, because, I mean, this is probably a bad example, but like the only reason that you're able to see half the stuff that you see from the bridge back here is because the Red River Hog habitat is like sunken down. It then gives you the space to fill the middle of your screen with as much of the Indian, elephant, rhino, sandbar habitat as possible. And then obviously we're going to have the third habitat at the back here, but that's probably just going to be dominated by the whatever climbing structure I fabricate back there. And then like even here, like the only reason you're able to see sort of this sheltered bit is probably because this path sinks down and then comes back up again. But I challenge everyone to do it. I think it just adds like a third dimension to their zoos.
You pull it off so well. I really like it. I also, you know what, you called it like a big pink rock. I really like the way that you have that gulpy set up as well.
Yeah, I just wish that you could turn off the horrific noise of the engine, because it is not unsightly, but unheardly, I guess is the word.
I like the use of that word.
Speaking of unsightly, one of the things I complained about in the last video was I didn't like the fact that there was nothing to see when you were on this raised decking, as it were. So instead of a bunch of trees, I've ripped them out and I've decided to build a restaurant instead. And we've got it's unnamed, but I kind of like the idea of the name mangroves, because mangroves are like a jungle area that's found, or a forested area that's found close to the coast. And I mean, this is on the edge of a river, so I don't know whether that sort of really counts, but I don't know. It's all subject to change. I've had some amazing suggestions already on a multitude of things, so maybe this restaurant could be another one.
Yeah, I love the fact that you're like, I don't like this sight line, and you replaced it with an entire working restaurant. This looks I love this. You're right. We've already had a chance to look at it, but every time I come back to this, I just fall in love with it even more.
Well, you probably missed it the first time that we went through here, but like there's going to be like some little details that like maybe you didn't pick up on the first time, like the fact that we've got this bag of leaves that has been tipped all over the place.
I love how that just fits in so well with this, and the broom and everything. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think we've all had that happen to us once, where we've tried sweeping leaves up and then the bag just splits or something like that. No.
Oh, bane of my existence.
But I think the reason I opted for a building here is because it's going to act as like a good doorway between the tropical area and then whatever area is going to go beyond this. So I'm still on the fence about whether I want it to be a North American area or whether I want it to be a barnyard, petting zoo area. But obviously this is going to get heavily terrain modified. It's not just going to be a ditch. It's like going over the trenches or something at the moment here.
I'm a huge fan of doing buildings and using buildings as like transitions from one area to another area. So like depending on what you put there, like I think you can really pull it off, and this building will really probably help with making that transition. But I do want to call out your living walls in that building. I am a huge fan of living walls.
These ones.
And this looks amazing.
Yeah, it just helps sell the whole vibe of the restaurant quite a lot. It's still a little bit of work to do in here. Originally, this was just like an Arctic wood floor, but I ended up ripping it out and replacing it with like tiles instead, because I thought they helped break up the. There's already a lot of wood in this building already, with like the ceiling and the coloured conservation pieces on the wall, and the doors are made out of wood. Everything in here is just like out of wood. So I just need to break it up a little bit and decided to put some slate on the floor.
I kind of like that though. Like wood is a natural. It's a renewable resource to an extent. It's a renewable resource. It's very natural and it's biodegradable, depending on how you treat the wood, I guess. But.
It is, but I feel like it's kind of counterintuitive as well, because you've obviously got this like beautiful jungle area, and I feel like in the jungle area you would have a lot of conservation related to saving the jungle, but then it feels like a big middle finger to then just like build a restaurant 90% out of wood.
That's usually how it goes, isn't it?
Got another new species as well. We've got some mallards. I am going to be using mods. I was asked whether I was going to be using mods, and I was like, I don't know. I'm going to be using remasters, but I'm on the fence about actual mods. And then I think a couple of hours after typing that comment out, I went and downloaded the sandbar and the mallard and a couple of others that are going to be unnamed until they're ready to be shown.
You've definitely opened my eyes to the use of mods. Easy Plus and Free Build are definitely like must-haves if you want to like really kind of elevate your zoo and build something as beautiful and as amazing as what Blob's put together here. And the remasters are they're super easy to install too. Like not a whole lot of work goes into a remaster for you to install. Much work goes into creating it.
Yeah, I will admit I was always like a big fan of the remasters, and I was sort of a bit on the fence about the new models because they were never sort of like really up to the standard that I thought Frontier was able to pump out. But I really do feel like some of them have like upped their game an awful lot, like the mallards who have sort of just like stolen the house for the Nialas that are just like being here. Like the models on them are like really, really nice. I didn't realize how good they were until I saw Nausicaa using them.
I feel like it's a classic mallard, just takes over every building it can get a hold of.
But yeah, this is supposed to be for the Nialas, but this habitat isn't finished. I do need to do a bit of work on the coastal bit here. Never mind me just standing on this. We're just going to stand up here. We're going to roll with it. We're just going to stand up here and enjoy the view.
I know you say that this is an unfinished habitat, but your unfinished habitat looks a lot like my finished habitats, and that's what I really love about your builds. You always take it to the next level, and I think it challenges people to see what they can do to push themselves further along, to improve, because this game is always about improving. You can build one thing and then in 2 weeks you can rebuild it and it'll be, double, twice as beautiful as what the first build was.
Yeah, see, my methodology for building at the moment is like, I don't really know what I want to do for the coastal bit here. So instead of just banging my head against a brick wall and trying to make it work, I've just moved on to another area, and until I find that problem happens in another habitat, and then I go into another habitat, and then you end up with just a string of unfinished habitats. And I'm probably going to put like an unfinished counter in the bottom right corner or something like that, so people can see how many unfinished habitats there are in this whole zoo so far, out of however many.
Oh, but speaking of like habitats and unfinished, your sight lines are always beautiful.
Thank you. They're like the main thing I focus on now, I think. Like, so even just something as stupid as standing on some decking, like when you're standing here, you've obviously got the initial upfront look of the Nialas, and then you've got this very peculiarly looking building over here on the left, and you've got like this gap here, which you can actually see the elephants in. We did see it in the one of our other recordings of this, like the elephant just sort of like trudging along from right to left, and it was quite nice to see, actually. Quite framed, yeah. Quite nicely.
I will say this with the utmost respect, Bob, of all the Planet Zoo builders I've seen on YouTube, of all those speed builds and everything like that, I always find that your zoos are packed full of details, more so than I see from a lot of other people. And I think it's just really nice to see you put it all together, and to see it from start to finish. So, you've been popping up some like sneak peeks and stuff like that in the Discord, and just being able to see it kind of come together, it gives me kind of like hope that like my zoos that are still coming together will eventually one day look like yours.
Thank you. Well, I'll tell you who isn't glad to see all this detail, and that's my PC. My PC hates me. It just the frame rate's just, we're not having any issues in this one, but Paws definitely was a bit hateful toward it. God, I could stand here all day and just watch these elephants. Honestly, they're very majestic.
I love, elephants are definitely in the top 10 for favorite animals. Giraffe is my top favorite animal. I don't know why, I just love giraffes, but elephants are such a majestic animal.
Oh, we may or may not be getting giraffes in this zoo later on as well, I'm just saying. But
I hope you bring me back for a tour of the giraffes.
Okay, I'll make note. That's good. But this was the other area that was sort of not done. We had this viewing area on the right here that was done, but the left part wasn't actually done at this point. But I've just opted with like a stone trim on this left side. I like things being different. So on the right, we've obviously got like the wooden fence with the bush on the other side. But then instead of copying it on the other side, I've decided that I'm just going to rock with these just stone pillar pieces like on their side, and then break up the corners with some sticking out bits. I was going to put something on the top of these, some like balls or something, like round orbs, but there wasn't really anything that was the right size. There was either some that were absolutely huge or some that were just embarrassingly tiny, so I decided against it in the end.
Yeah, I really like how you added in the benches on top of this to kind of like break up the space. But they look so, it looks like I would want to sit down in those.
Thank you. This one's actually functional as well. This is the only one that's functional because this is the only one I could get the bench to actually line up with properly on the path. The others don't line up, so the others they won't use, but they'll use this one.
I think that just adds to the majesty of it.
And then you get a little sneak peek of the Nialas here. I wanted this bit to be more like covered over, because I always get the feeling that you're in an area called the Jungle Jamboree, but there's not actually much sort of jungle going on apart from what you can see behind you. You're never really in amongst the jungle, so I wanted this to give that feel with like this shaded area.
No, I still think you do a good job. Your foliage is always on point. For those who don't know, Blob is known as the king of foliage in our community because all of his foliage work is just gorgeous.
Thank you. Link in the description to that amazing Discord. It's so good. It's so good. There's so many amazing people over there. No, it's not shameless. Right, I have no shame in admitting that at all to anyone.
I love how you work in the barriers. How you have like two barriers, one in front of the other, and they are the in-game barriers, which I think is super important to acknowledge that in-game barriers are perfectly fine to use in the game.
Yeah, it's again, my PC is glad because it means it doesn't have to render like 50,000 pieces for one panel, so it helps my PC out an awful lot, that's for sure. But Yeah, a nice little viewing area here. And again, the restaurant in the background. It's just the restaurant was built. I think it's like the second most recent thing that I built in this zoo. So I did this in the Isle of Habitat, and I was standing here, and I was just like, it was like this. You know, it's just like nothing on the coast, just some trees, and they're all the same tree. And I was just like, this looks awful because the backdrop doesn't help it at all. Like if the backdrop helped it, then it would probably look a lot nicer. But we sorted that out with the restaurant.
I really like this curved tunnel, like this wood tunnel, the conservation pieces.
This may or may not stay. I don't know because I don't know if I like it. It feels like it has a place, and this isn't that place.
I feel like it's like a portal into the Jungle Jamboree almost.
But we're still in the Jungle Jamboree, so here it makes no sense. It's like you're leaving the Jungle Jamboree into the Jungle Jamboree.
A bigger Jungle Jamboree.
So like more view in here for like the elephants and stuff like that, and then this habitat here that I'm gonna put a 0.5 on the unfinished habitat marker counter because I've kind of started it, but I also kind of haven't, so therefore it can't really be unfinished if it hasn't been started. So that's the rule. I'm making the rules up as I go along at this point, I feel like.
Yeah, I really love this this habitat.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you what's going to go in here yet. I feel like people may be able to guess what's going to go in here because of some of the enrichment pieces that are in here, but I'll keep you all guessing at this point because my problem with this habitat at the moment is that this building here is absolutely unsightly. Like, oh no, I like the window. And I like the idea of having this window here where you're going to be able to see the animals go into what is going to be like an indoor area for them. But the rest of it is just not my cup of tea, so I'm going to be like changing this heavily. This is going to be like subject to a lot of change.
I get that, but like that's part of the joy, and I say this a lot because I get weird joy of playing Planet Zoo. It's like building something, realizing you could build it better, and then deleting it and trying again. But I love this this wire mesh canopy. Oh.
Yes, I've used Goron's roof again because it's just so good, and then I just have to do like the horrible lining up. I've done an awful job of it here. I do need to sort this bit out, but I've like lined up the rest of it pretty nicely. I think once you do it once, you sort of like pick up an art for it, and then you can just like do it over and over again, like pretty seamlessly.
That's a good call though. Like it's challenge yourself to do something different, and then you learn from it, and then you improve. Like that's the best way to do it.
Thank you very much. Well, I teased you like before we had done the other 50,000 tours of this area. I did like sort of tease you about what this episode was going to be called and whatnot, and I called it Conquering My Achilles Heel because I feel like my personal Achilles heel is like indoor areas and stuff like that. But we've seen the restaurant, and then we're going to go and head on over to another part of my indoor sections. And you may have seen this one if you saw the teaser I posted in the community tab. But here we are. We've got the Avengers building, as Gene calls it.
This looks absolutely phenomenal. I love everything about this building.
Thank you. I'm going to change it for sure because while I do like the comparison to the Earth's Mightiest Heroes, this is a zoo, not a theme park. I feel like it would fit in a theme park because you could have like an Avengers Tower with like a roller coaster and stuff. But so maybe we call it the Amazonia or something like that, and it's just like a building full of animals that you'd find in the Amazon. But
so I know I've said this before, but I am positive I have seen the inspiration for this, and you've done it justice. Like this is phenomenal.
Yeah, this is definitely the. I'm pretty sure I know the reference image that you're talking about, and this is that view that they showed. I think it's because I was looking at accent walls. I was trying to find like something to do with walls because I built this. I think I built something based on my local zoo, and then when I went to look at interiors of like entrances, this came up, and I don't think it's actually an interior to an entrance building, but I just liked it so much that I was just like, do you know what? we're gonna roll with it.
You know, actually, now that you say that, I'm pretty sure you're the one that shared the inspiration photo with me. I think this was a long time ago. This was like during Ottawa Zoo days, and I think I was trying to build something, and you shared this with me. And you're like, "This is awesome. You should try to do it." I tried and I failed, but it's the part of improving. Is you build something, it doesn't work out, build it again.
This is.
And I think this is fantastic.
Yeah, I've no shame in admitting this is another one of my like blueprints that I've exhausted from my collection. This is going to be my greatest hits. It's like one of those like really corny albums that you used to be able to get in like the early 2000s. It'll be like greatest hits of the year and stuff like that, and that's what this is. Like my greatest blueprints all rolled into one zoo.
I love the use of blueprints. It's there's nothing wrong with utilizing something that you put a lot of time and effort in to build something so beautiful. Like even this interior is just it's so wild, literally and figuratively wild.
Well, like I say, I don't actually know what's going in here so far because I built this back when the Siamangs or the Gibbons got added to the game. But I'd already made it for the capuchin monkeys, so you've got like a different multitude of signs here. You've got the capuchin monkeys on the wall here, but when you go back into the main hall, you've got the gibbons up on the wall up here. So it's open to interpretation. If anyone wants to suggest something, then I'm open. I'm all ears.
I really love how you got the gibbons like to hang from the vines on the wall. So I like the idea of having gibbons in here. But this entire building is packed full of details.
Thank you. It's definitely too small to house things like orangutans or gorillas, so they're definitely going to be off the table. But a smaller monkey for sure is definitely something I would consider. Maybe even like lemurs or something. But
I do like how like this does definitely have that interior zoo look with like the concrete floor mixed in with some floor coverings and the climbing structures. It's very man-made, which makes total sense, and I think it fits really well with the idea of having like this interior zoo view.
Yeah, I find it very. So obviously, I find it a bit sad because obviously, like you say, it looks very man-made and very sad because it's just concrete and it's not where they're supposed to be. But at the same time, it's that realism. Like the realistic thing is that wouldn't be something you wouldn't go into an interior area for chimpanzees or orangutans. A lot of them are just these very light open rooms with just ropes and climbing frames everywhere, and they're not decorated out to look like a jungle canopy. That tends to be saved for their sort of outdoor areas, more like the lushness.
Yeah, I do like the use of your tires on all of those climbing structures. Definitely gonna file that away for my own use later.
Yeah, if you someone else had said that to me, and I was like, oh, if you want another little tip, you can use the that's the wrong key. You can use like the cardboard tubes for the posters. These you can use these things. Especially now that we've got like the string pieces, if you like hung up a string, you could put these like on the string as like a makeshift enrichment item. They wouldn't actually use it, but you could just use it as like that.
There though, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, like they don't use the tires, but they don't need to. It's all an illusion. So the thing I've loved about this project so far is that because it's a world zoo and I've got all these different areas that I can like jump between, I don't have to stick with tropical. So if I get not burnt out from tropical, because I definitely haven't been burnt out from tropical, it means that whenever I get like a taste for something else, like I very much blame everyone in your Discord right now is pretty much building for Asia. And I felt left out. So I went and decided that I was going to also build for Asia, and here we've got our first little taste of Asia, and that is going to be the red pandas.
I like your wood and stone entrance. Gives me very like rustic vibes.
Yeah, this definitely is like not your conventional red panda habitat, like the darker stone. Oh, right. Well,
that's not supposed to happen.
we're gonna add a cut here, and we're gonna just pretend that never happened. But this is based on Cologne Zoo, very loosely. Not so much the shape, but more specifically this like climbing this log that goes across the gap here. Because the one in Cologne Zoo genuinely is this close to your head. Like, you can stand underneath it and you would actually be able to touch the tipping. Like, this would obviously tip if they tried to like stand on it to prevent them from like escaping and stuff like that. So you would actually be able to reach up and touch it if you wanted it to. And I thought, let's give it a go, give it a crack in Planet Zoo, you know. And I think I actually managed to pull it off because they actually do use it and quite successfully. I mean, there are.
Just to follow you around.
Okay, we are going to do this. We are going to. Actually, I know how we can do this.
Let's I really do love this entire habitat, though.
Thank you. It's again, this is pretty much my last blueprint that I've exhausted. I built this and Spectacle Cayman Habitat were in like their own separate file, and I felt like I had to. There's no way that I couldn't give them the light of day. You know, like the two of my favorite habitats that I've ever built ever. They're so contrasting to each other as well. Like, one's this, I was gonna say very watery, but obviously this one's very watery as well with the red pandas tenants that it shares the space with. But
I do
that
like,
one's
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is
no,
like
I was just gonna say
that was more tropical, and this one's obviously more temperate / tiger.
I definitely get the taiga feels, but like with the grayer stone and stuff like that. But
yeah, the rock colors definitely.
You definitely pulled this off really well. Like, this looks beautiful.
Thank you. All right, let's see if we can get them to use this.
One eternity later.
Oh, we may actually have a participant here.
Well worth the wait, though. I will say this. One of my favorite shots right here, I think.
It's a little jank, but, you know, like, what isn't when it comes to climbing in Planet Zoo, you know?
Yeah, like, that right there is my favorite shot.
It's so beautiful. And then it's just like, even when they come down to this side, it's just the... they meander past the waterfall. Oh, this is obviously something you've seen me do like a couple of times. Like the clouded leopards had this in Paws, where they had like the beam that crossed the waterfall, and it's like a extra dimension to the whole habitat. Bless them.
Oh, I'm just gonna go all the way back now.
Okay, so yeah, that's it. I say that's it. I feel like I've actually done quite a bit for the second week here, but we've got I've done quite a bit of planning so far as well. I think I'm going to get rid of this part of the river and flatten this out, and this will all be one area with the entrance and another area in, but I don't know what the area is going to be so far. Back here, we're going to be doing the petting zoo or the North American bit, but I think I'm going to be airing towards the petting zoo area, because then I can have chickens and stuff into goats, into llamas, into camels, and then the camels can bleed on into the Africa area, which is going to be one of my favorite areas to do, I think.
No, I'm really excited to see how this zoo turns out. Like, I saw Paws from, you know, its start to its finish, and I can't wait to see the same for this zoo.
I just want it to feel... I've kind of thrown the whole cohesive thing out the window. Like, so Paws was obviously very cohesive, where it just felt like one whole thing. I kind of don't care about that with this. Like, I don't really care about blending the tropical area here into the Asia area here. It really doesn't bother me, because, well, it just doesn't bother me. I think I'd rather prioritize just each habitat speaking as their own individual entity within the sanctuary or the zoo.
Yeah, just having fun. That's really all your focus is. Let's have fun and build something really cool.
As long as the areas themselves, like within them, is like cohesive. Like, as long as the tropical area all feels like one tropical area, I don't mind. But like I say, I couldn't really care whether the tropical area blends nicely into the Asia area or anything like that, because I think the bridges do a lot of the work here. You know, like the bridge going across to here is doing like quite a lot of the work. The bridge from the entrance area to here is doing a lot of the work. The only one that does worry me is this, because there is no bridge. It's just a hard cut, and then you're in Asia.
There's no bridge yet.
True. So instead of me getting up, I could just like get upset, cry a river, build a bridge, and get over it. But maybe I'll find like a tropical Asia animal and then have that be like the gateway between the two. But the likelihood is that I'm just not going to bother, because I just, like I say, I don't care. I just like the idea that you can potentially be sort of like going into here, doing what you need to do in here, and then coming out, and then as you come out, you sort of like take a look, and then you're just like taken by this, and then this is what draws you over.
Yeah, I mean, like, I just recently visited Toronto Zoo, just the other day actually, and like, there, like, when you go from one section to another section, all it is just a gate. That's it, and it works.
Yeah,
so
nice.
Definitely nothing wrong with that. That's for sure.
No, that's true. Well, that's going to be it for this episode. I'm going to preface now, because I'm back to work. My time to spend in Stafford is going to be more limited. So if I am doing the same regular updates, they're not going to be as packed as this one. But I really wanted to try and hit the ground running before I went back to work, and that way I've got something really cool to work with. So I've got most of the tropical done, we've got the Asia started and stuff, so I think we've got some good groundwork laid out here. But thank you so much for watching, thank you for being here, and make sure you check out Gunther's channel as well, and join the Discord if you'd like to take part in the madness that goes on over there.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Blau. I really appreciate it. And what I'm hearing is that we all need to help Blau become a full-time YouTuber, so he can just build a Planet Zoo and show off these amazing zoos for us.
Oh no, that sounds like my nightmare. As soon as you're getting paid for something, I feel like it saps all the fun out of it. Or as soon as you make something your job, it saps all the fun out of it. So I'll stick to doing this as a hobby, because otherwise I think I'd just stop enjoying it. Like footballers, I reckon footballers don't enjoy doing their job anymore because it's their job rather than a hobby.
Fair enough. But thank you very much for having me and letting me join you on this this tour. I really honestly can't wait to see what comes next, and what you build and how you bring it all together. I'm really excited for everything. And like I said, every time I walk away, I learn something new, and I for sure spotted a few things that I'm probably going to borrow in my own zoos now. And that's what I love about your zoos. You'll always have something amazing for us to see and to challenge me to improve and other people to improve. So I can't wait.
Thank you so much. And with that, we will be off now. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out. Bye bye. I love you all. Bye.
Bye.